Hey, good morning. Henry McClure Live. I'm videotaping this segment for Marty, new author, um, a writer, collaborator. Um, so, the reason I'm videotaping this one is from time to time, the internet connection is bad on this, and this is one of those times where I got to get the message the first time due to timing. So look, I'm here at the corner of 5th and Adams, here southeast, right across from Amtrak, Home Sweet Home, the Ramada, the fire department's down there. This was the Jordan Bakery. Oh, morning. Kind of stumbling around in the street. I found it interesting yesterday while I was meeting with Pete Tavares, a resident of Oakland. You'll have to ask Pete what he called me. It was funny. It kind of threw me off kilter because I don't think of myself as what he called me. It was a compliment, I'm telling you for sure. But it has to do with the heritage of my upbringings. And that in itself is another story. So that's the introduction this morning. Now we'll go to chapter 1. Okay, let's go back and let's start talking about economic development and how economic development was framed in the beginning. Of course, if it's in Topeka and Shawnee County, have anything to do with anything, it always starts off with a consultant. So the site consultant says that we don't have enough shovel-ready land. You know, he said he sees a lot of Milo fields. As if he didn't know that this is an agricultural area. So they put out, they in this is always going to be Go Topeka. And Go Topeka at that time was run by a guy named Matt Pavarnak. No. I'm sorry. Doug Kinzinger. I haven't had coffee yet. I'm on the way actually to get coffee. Walking down one of the worst streets of Topeka, Kansas. Speaking of shovel ready and streets, this is a perfect example of why we need to do infill development today. Look at this. Actually, I think if you look at this, this is a code violation. You can't have gravel to the street, but look at this street. I mean, I give the guy a pass on this one. And I'm going to jump around a second, but from 10,000 feet, if you look at the streets in Oakland and then go look at the streets out in Lawrence Bay, that's why we're disjointed. we're disjointed because we've put so much burden on new development, and we don't think of the infill development where streets in Oakland don't have curbs and gutters, sidewalks, nothing. But I digress. Good morning. So let's go put the call back to shovel ready, and when I'll send you the original promotional ad that Topeka produced. Actually, we ought to interview Vince Fry too, because Vince actually put together and produced the commercial for a group called Yes Topeka. Now, I liked the idea back then of the 1/4-cent sales tax for economic development. It made sense. It truly did. The need for shovel-ready land, that made sense too. And now at this point in time, at this time period, I am new back to Topeka after being gone for 18 years and doing, I'd have to figure out the numbers on everything, but you know, because there's a difference of the day the project was renovated and today's date. But I think it was then numbers over the 18 years of about 400 million, which would be a lot higher. Macerich was a recycler where we renovated new malls or old malls to new. And my big project down in Tampa was a recycled project. So over my lifetime, I've not come out of the dirt with huge projects, but a lot of the leases or sales that I've been involved with have, let's say some of the ground leases I've done, you know, we've had to do build-to-suits. But it's neither here nor there in the exact dollar amount. What's important is it was, the majority of it was all private dollars. We did, my very first project was a TIF, tax incremental financing project in Boulder, Colorado. Good morning.
Morning.
I hop around a lot. But back to the shovel-ready land, I'm loving it because I've got 75 acres with Dana K. Anderson and his wife Sue as a listing. And the Willsies and Dick May have 100 acres next to me, and Dave Hermans has got like a 10-acre tract down the way. Man, something's going on around here. So I enter into a development agreement with Dana K. And actually, in anything I got going on with Dana K basically goes on in perpetuity due to our track record over the years working for him at Macerich, and just our personal relationship of being neighbors. Dana liked to hire people out of Topeka because he knew we wouldn't mind moving anywhere. He knew our backgrounds. You could argue whether it was Mace Siegel or Dana King Anderson, but between those two, those guys changed more lives, created more opportunity than anybody I've ever known. And their backgrounds are humble. They come from humble beginnings. And that was an interesting thing of trying to explain to Pete yesterday. You know, when your dad's a high-powered lawyer and loses his wife. My mom divorced my dad when I was 3, and then my dad was a bitter fella and made it difficult on my mom financially as a single parent. But that again is another story. So now let's go back to the call for shovel-ready land, right? And you gotta take your notebook, if you've been taking any notes so far, and at the top of it, put shovel-ready land. Put shovel-ready land at the top. And in fact, this whole segment ought to be called shovel-ready land. Because that is the spirit in which the economic development money was approved. The deep-seated notion of why we first perpetuated the quarter-cent sales tax to create shovel-ready land. Shovel-ready land has hard surfaces in front of it, the utilities there. In the economic development game, you'd love to have access to fiber, highways, rail spurs, airports. You know, the more the better makes developing your shovel-ready land easier. And so from a time frame, I'd have to look at it, but we're going back to 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 in there, in that time frame. Oh man, my daughter's on the phone. Well, I'll call her back. I lost her. All right. I got to turn this segment off. Watch it again, and then I'm going to call Bentley and I'll call you back. Or I'll write you, start this over.